Okay, this EFC concept is one that we use when trying to understand and evaluating where we stand with a prospect when they first come in. And it's a little bit of sales 101 training, and I want to make sure that I position this the right way in all of your minds. First of all, if you're sitting here, whether you are an instructor, a manager, a assistant manager, or a master of a school, I want you to have an understanding of this concept, not necessarily because you're doing the sales, but because your understanding of selling psychology and what moves people to action is going to be important one way or another. And the first concept that I think I sometimes need to teach newer salespeople or being introduced to sales concepts for the first time is this idea of understanding the difference between just a person and a prospect. So when somebody walks through the door for the first time, we have a person in front of us that we don't know, right? Who is the person? Whether they walked in cold or whether they had a scheduled appointment. And to me, part of the process, not from a greedy point of view, not from a negative point of view, is I don't know who you are, and the more that I know who you are, the better I will be suited to discuss and describe and meet your needs. Everyone following me so far? You're okay to be interactive even though we're doing a video, right? So to me, I actually can honestly say I have the same level of excitement, and I would want you to have the same level of excitement. We got some married staff here, we still have some single staff here. That same kind of new sense of excitement when you sat down to somebody next to somebody for the first time at a nightclub or a party or whatever that seemed intriguing and interesting to you, and there's a question mark. Ooh, who is he? Or who is she? And then hopefully, if things went well, as you started talking to them, you got more and more excited about maybe trying to create a relationship. Well, to me, that's the feeling that I still have and that I hope that you have every time someone walks through our doors, sits down in front of you. And so we've asked this concept before, or mentioned this concept before, that your driving force is, who are you and how can I help you? But to try and make that a little bit more specific for knowing where do I have to direct this prospect or what information should I be providing them, I sometimes find it helpful to be thinking about it in terms of an EFC rating. And in this case, we're talking about E is the level of enthusiasm, not just their overall personality, but their enthusiasm towards getting started with our classes. The F is their finances, their financial capability to be able to enroll in our school. And then extremely important, C is commitment. How committed are they to the idea that they want to become a member, and maybe that they want to become a member now? But behind each of these, we can go a little bit more, and I want to even have some awareness from the audience. When you meet somebody for the first time, what is some of the signs or symbols that you use in your mind to determine how enthusiastic they are about this concept? Somebody walks through, they come in, how do we know they are more or less enthusiastic about it? What's something, Mr. Russo?
Their excitement level, happy and smiling.
They're smiling, they're, oh, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you, whatever. They literally can be walking towards us as opposed towards, yeah, I just want to grab a brochure or something like that. You deal with the situation either way. One thing that I'm going to emphasize, maybe I was going to save it to the end, but maybe I'll do it now. The two biggest rules that I want everyone to have regarding an EFC rating is, number one, every single person you meet that walks through your door has one. They have a current place where they are standing related with their level of enthusiasm, their financial readiness, and their level of commitment. But if we stopped there, then it would mean that we are training you to disqualify. Because we would say, okay, and remember, if they have only a 0.6 here, a 6-point score here, and a 6 here, and a 6 here, they don't qualify. Don't talk to them. Don't give them any information. But we're actually the opposite. We are saying, wherever they come in at, you then now know what do you have to do to affect that rating. And actually, as professional martial artists and professional salespeople, I want you to believe you can change it. And I believe you know that. That the parent that comes through the door and like, well, you know, he's interested in trying something like this. I'm not so sure about it. I don't know anything about it. You say, well, geez, that's kind of a low level of enthusiasm. But it doesn't have to stay there. We're going to change it. Finances, we've talked about this many times in the past. We cannot affect how much money they have in their pocket, but we can affect how willing they are to go into their pocket. and we affect their value rating based on the way that we deliver our service. And commitment as well. How many managers here have sat down with somebody who initially said, well, I don't want to force my child to do anything. I don't want to make them do something that they don't want to do. I don't want to be dragging them to something. But how many of you have successfully then 3 years later registered that person for a 3-year black belt program? Every single one of our managers. Not because you twisted their arm, but because of we filled in a gap in their education. So to me, when I look at the EFC, I want to develop where are they currently at, where's the gap that I have to fill in for them to be comfortable making the decision. So when I'm evaluating people, I'm not evaluating to say, oh, I don't want to have to deal with this kind of person. I'm evaluating to say, aha, I see where's the work that I have to fill in. Okay? So let's just go a little bit further with it. Their enthusiasm level. What affects their enthusiasm, or how are you checking their enthusiasm? One, how they literally, physically approach you, and their facial expression about the whole idea. That's their enthusiasm. What else is their enthusiasm? These are going to kind of dovetail a little bit.
Questions they're asking.
I'm sorry, the type of questions they're asking. When can he get started? Would he be able to get started next week? Or so, can they start any time? Or, I'm just wondering how much this is going to be. That's a finances question too, but are they pretty much far along in the decision cycle? A lot of sales questionnaires these days, if you ever fill out a questionnaire on a site for a car, if you ever looked at a car online, right? They might have a little question form there. They'll say, contact the salesperson now. One of the questions will be, are you interested in buying a car in the next 30 days? Or, what is your time buying? So when they say, so what's made you interested in this? Oh, we've been waiting to do it for a long time. We're really interested in getting them started for back to school or whatever. You're just taking a stock of how enthusiastic they are. Their finances. Now remember, we're not disqualifying. We have families in our school, in all 5 locations, with ranges of financial backgrounds. For some of our families, this is a large portion of their personal budget to be involved in Taekwondo. For some of our families, it's a very, very tiny part of their budget to be involved in Taekwondo. But what are some indications of their current financial strength? What would be some? Something obvious. Master Peters.
Their clothes, car.
Yeah,
material items.
And again, there's a range of people. Some people choose to dress very, very casually, even though they have a high level of affluence. Believe it or not, my son was horseback riding, or involved in horseback riding, and in one of the competitions that I mentioned to some of you before, Michael Dell's daughter was there. So Michael Dell, the founder of Dell Computers, a multi-billionaire, was there. He's there in jeans and a t-shirt. He's just hanging around, but he happens to be a billionaire. So it's not an automatic, but in general, we look at the level of dress, the level of clothing. That gives us some feeling of how financially strong they are. What would be another indication?
Jobs. Well, are we looking at the VI form? So
Right, once we've met them, looking over the form, we're looking at their visitor information form. It could also be the type of other activities that their child's involved in. We know that hockey's a rather expensive sport to be involved in, sir.
Their marital status.
Their marital status, in most cases, but not all, a 2-family income is going to be a little bit stronger. Once again, I want to emphasize, the parent, have we enrolled a child of a parent who works across the street at a McDonald's? Yes, that's possible. But we did have to establish more value. We'll talk about that in a moment more. And also, just a reminder on EFC scores too, is it absolutely possible that the child of a parent who has 2 parents who are both doctors could come in and not enroll? Of course. So the reason we put these together, and I'll talk about that in a moment, because we kind of have to have progress on all of them. And finally, C is commitment. We know that the way that we run our programs currently, someone's going to have to make a decision to enroll, at least for 6 months for a little tiger, and a year or 3 years into our regular program. That's a fairly substantial commitment. So I like to get a little bit of a feel about their attitude towards commitment in advance. Once again, we're using our visitor information form for that. What is some of the keys? First of all, there's some direct things they've done. We've already used it a little bit. What's a direct way that we know about their feeling on commitment? What's the range? There are 2 different ranges, completely on one side, completely on the other side, of things that parents might say regarding commitment. What's one of them?
Oh, we just let them try everything. We're just trying to find what he's looking
Yeah,
for.
my goal is I just want to let my kid try something. If he likes it, I don't want to force him into anything. I want to be, very casual on that. What's the exact opposite that's also said by parents? Master Rescue?
If my child starts something, they're gonna see it through.
The rule in our house is once my child starts something, then he's got to stick with it. He or she's got to commit, the full term that they do. Have we registered parents with both mindsets? Yes. Because even the parent that says, hey, I just want to let them try stuff, I want to let them do whatever they want to do, doesn't allow their child to eat whatever they want all day long. Doesn't very likely allow their child to speak with whatever kind of language they want all day long. They do have areas of their life where they say, no, I'm committed to this being a certain kind of path for my child, and if Taekwondo can be part of it, we can change it. That's just one example of how there is no, I guess I'll call it poison pill. There is no, definitely this parent is too lackadaisical about this idea. Definitely, this family has no chance financially to be able to do it. Definitely, this parent's commitment attitude is so weak, there's no chance we can do it. In fact, I take all of this as a personal challenge, and I hope that you do as well. Just like in a way, as physical martial art instructors, sometimes we do have a student who has no flexibility, no coordination, no athletic capability, and we still take up the challenge to try to make them a better martial artist. Let's just go a little bit further. Since they come in, we have some kind of feeling of their EFC rating. Let's talk about how we move the needle. So if you're piloting your ship, or you're using your spaceship, or whatever it is that you want to envision that you're working with, we've got 3 different needles there. We've got our E needle, we've got our F needle, we've got our C needle. One way or another, we've got to move it all into here, into the green zone that says green means go. We can now enroll this student. For the E rating, let's assume that they come in a little lower. They're a little bit casual. Maybe they saw us at a booth. Maybe they just walked in because we were close by. What are the type of things that we do to increase their enthusiasm? How do we take someone who's got lower enthusiasm about this idea, increase it over the next few days? To a trial. Obviously, the trial lesson. What needs to happen in the trial lesson to raise their enthusiasm? Master Villafranca, when you're working, you don't teach a lot of trial lessons, but when you're working with a student for the first time, how do you make them more enthusiastic about Taekwondo?
So you have to show them and their parents that there's going to be a difference, and show the benefits or the reasons why they came, show that starting to come through, and have a general connection and build rapport.
Right. I mean, it might be surprising to you, but one word that didn't come out so far in about 10 minutes of talking about this topic is we didn't talk about their needs, right? How strong their need is a big factor. When I was in the airport the other day and I was about to get on a 4-hour flight and I realized I'd forgotten my headphones, I was pretty enthusiastic, pretty willing to part with my finances, pretty committed to buy a pair of headphones as soon as possible before I got on the plane. And I bought, unfortunately, a fairly cheapy kind of pair of headphones for more than I wanted to spend, but I had a very strong need. So that cuts through almost all of this, is what's the strength of their need. That affects every single one of them. So when you're listening to the parent who said, we're having a bully problem, or I'm concerned about her shyness, or I've made a decision, I just gotta get this weight off, or I don't wanna be, I need a way to get away from this stress if I'm an adult. That need really affects all of these ratings. But even that, we can fan the flames, we can get them excited more. One thing that I can't emphasize enough, people will be more enthusiastic, more willing to part with their finances, more willing to make a commitment for that which is exactly what they are looking for. So when Master Villafranca talks about creating enthusiasm while teaching and showing the parent, see, we're going to talk about confidence here. We're going to give your child lots of praise. We're going to give them encouragement. You're going to know, did you see how smiling they were, how smiling and happy they were as a result of the lesson? They're more enthusiastic, not just because of the fun, but because they're saying, this is the right place for us. Okay? Finances is one of the biggest ones related with that. I can't tell enough new sales people, forget about how much we charge, forget about how much things cost, work continually with the concept. It's all about perception of value. Those cheapy headphones to me had a higher perception of value at the moment because they were the only ones available, And it was that versus no headphones for a 4-hour flight. And I kind of had my movie plan that I was going to watch that I was looking forward to. At that moment, they took on a high perception of value. So I paid twice what I would pay for headphones that I probably won't keep or won't use after that. Maybe I'll throw them in my backpack for the last minute type of headphones. But I had good headphones that I forgot to bring. So how about for us, for facing their finances? If this is financially tougher for the family, they are going to make the decision once again if it is exactly what they're looking for, or even what would be better, more than what they're looking for. We have a very strong and aggressive attitude about this, that some of our competitors locally charge less than we do. If someone walks through our door and says, I stopped by such and such school down the street, they charge $120 per month, that's way too expensive for us. I was wondering what you guys charge. I want every single one of us to confidently be able to sit there and still talk to that person, not saying, oh my gosh, but we charge $169 per month. They must automatically already have decided that they don't want to come to our school either, because they decided $120 for martial art lessons was too much. It's not that kind of decision. They decided $120 was too much for that martial arts, in that facility, with that kind of smell, with that level of interaction with the people. But maybe they would determine, if we do our job properly, that $169 for our facility, with our level of attentiveness, with our level of care, with our level of professionalism, with our level of personal encouragement and praise, is a great deal, is a great bargain compared to that commitment. So you take up the financial challenge while doing it. Commitment, we talked about two different ends of the spectrum. What is ultimately the reason people do things? I don't know if I'm leading it the right way. Why do people do things? Why do people make a commitment to make a decision, sir?
Because they want to.
Because they want to, right? We say that people, that all buying decisions are emotional buying decisions backed up by logic, right? We say, ooh, I really want to buy that new shiny thing, and I'll just save some money. I won't go out to dinner this weekend, or I'll save some other money in this area, or I've been working really hard, I deserve it. They come up with the reasons after they come up first with the emotion, or they have that strong emotional feeling towards it. So I honestly believe when people ask, so you have to sign up for 3 years, or how do you get people to sign up for 3 years, or why would someone with an 8-year-old want to sign up for 3 years? Because they want to. And one of the presentations we've continually done has been the concept of making the black belt program make sense. We don't have a magical way. It's not because it's our policy, oh, you can only sign up for 3 years, or the only way you become a black belt in our school is to join the 3-year black belt program. We don't even discount it real big compared to the 1-year program. We make people, or we help people to see, to get excited about, to feel comfortable with making a commitment because it makes sense. What's one of the educating points that we have to do about that? They came to us with a need for confidence, for focus, for discipline. How do we solve that need? You might say to me a particular thing. Oh, we build confidence by providing encouragement. We build focus by giving structure. We build fitness by using your upper body and lower body regularly with intensity. We build stress relief by giving you a great group of people and different activities to be involved in. But are you remembering that the secret formula for all of that is we do that over a long period of time? See, I try to remind everybody when we do this, I need you to be a raving fan, not of an individual Taekwondo class or session. All of us here, while we've gone on vacation, I've gone mountain biking once. I've gone surfing once. I've never gone hand gliding, but if I could have gone hand gliding once. Hopefully you guys should survive it. I've had individual different experiences. Oh, that was fun. That was interesting. But none of it changed my life. And similarly, taking a Taekwondo lesson doesn't change your life, doesn't build your fitness, doesn't reduce your stress. what gives all the benefits that we're so confident to give is repeated, consistent, habitual training. So to me, helping somebody to go from lower level commitment to higher level commitment through our enrollment process happens when we educate them. Yes, absolutely, we have the solution to your needs. It's going to take time though. And that's not a self-serving presentation, that's an honest presentation, right? So when I meet somebody for the first time, by way of review, one possible way of wrapping it up and creating some communication even between staff, because that's helpful, is that masters and managers and assistant managers could communicate. I want you to tell the story of a person, right? I want you to say, oh, sir, we have a trial lesson today with an 8-year-old boy. And this 8-year-old boy, his parents feel this way about it. It looks like their financial situation is this. This is what they're thinking regarding the commitment. Remember, I don't want you to turn people into an EFC rating and just say high, low, high, whatever. We want to know their story. But this makes sure that in every one of the cases when you're communicating with your team, and even when you're reviewing your list of trial lessons yourself and asking, where do I stand with this person? What needs to happen next? I think this is a helpful way of doing it. They're very enthusiastic. Their finances are a little tight. They see the value in this. They want to make a commitment. Okay, we're going to have to focus on really making them understand why we charge a little bit more than the other schools, and it's because of the facility, the number of instructors we have, and the special events and attention to detail that we have with those. Their finances are very strong. They have an attitude that if we sign up for something, we're going to stay committed to it. But the child themselves was kind of dragged here, and they're a little, hesitant about this whole idea, or they're a little shy, like a little tiger. They're hesitant. Okay, I've got to really make sure that I make a great personal relationship and create a spark there. The child's real excited about it. The finances look like no problem. Parents seem to be in a good financial position, but they are really gun shy about making a commitment. That situation happens actually more frequently than we think, right? Because in a way, people become affluent because they make very calculated, careful decisions the way that they do things. So as you become more an expert with this, or you become more used to it, you're not going to be surprised by any kind of combination, because all of the combinations exist. But it does help to educate you and your team. What do we need to do to have the greatest influence on the person? And as a reminder, the service or the influence over the person doesn't end once we register them, right? Couldn't it be said that after we register someone, we want to continue to increase their enthusiasm for us? We want to continue to make them feel that our value is greater. When they register, they're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of money for us to do it, but I guess it's the right thing because my son really needs it. Couldn't we make them feel like 1 year later, oh, now if I only knew that what it was going to be like, I would have been willing to pay double. Wow, I wasn't really so sure about making the commitment. It sounded like a good idea, but then they achieve their black belt, and without hesitation, they sign up for another 3 years to go on the second dan, because now they are so committed to Taekwondo being a part of their life. Okay? So hopefully this EFC rating becomes a concept that you can work with for yourself as a salesperson. It becomes something that you can share among your team to have a better conversations about where we stand with prospective students, and I guess even later on with your own students as well. Get your students more enthusiastic, valuing our services higher, more committed to the idea of making this a part of their life, and the school is going to continue to go well.